So before we had oil pipelines and solar panels and wind turbines, we had coal. Coal has been with us for thousands of years because it was seen naturally at the surface of the earth, exposed by erosion on hillsides and riverbanks. So early people did not have to discover it so much as stumble across it. And the evidence suggests that lightning strikes on exposed coal showed them it would burn on its own. A rock that catches fire is hard to ignore. The oldest systematic coal use we know of goes back roughly 3,600 years to the Bronze Age in China, where people mined and burned it deliberately for cooking and metalwork. And part of what drove the shift to coal was a familiar problem. Wood was the main fuel source for those ancient people, and in growing communities, forests began running thin, so they used coal as its replacement. Coal forms from ancient plant matter, not marine organisms like oil. Forests and swamps that existed hundreds of millions of years ago during a period actually called the Carboniferous period died and fell into wet, oxygen-poor environments where they could not fully decompose. Over millions of years, layers of sediment buried that material deeper and deeper, and heat and pressure slowly transformed it into the dense, carbon-rich rock we call coal. So coal is essentially compressed ancient forest. When it burns, the carbon is released all at once, which had been locked underground for roughly 300 million years. There are also other things trapped inside coal when forming, one of which is sulfur. And when coal is burned, sulfur is released into the air, and through chemical processes, it forms sulfuric acid, which becomes acid rain and causes harm to us and to our environment. For a long time, coal was the main energy source, and beginning in 1882 in New York, with Thomas Edison's coal-fired power plant, electric power was generated for the first time in the United States. It heated homes, ran the railroads, and kept the lights on in cities before most people had ever heard the word electricity used the way we use it today. Burning coal comes at a significant cost. Coal produces sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, fine particulate matter, mercury, and carbon dioxide too. Those emissions cause acid rain, smog, lung disease, and climate change, and are linked to tens of thousands of deaths in the United States every year. As of 2023, coal still accounted for approximately 16% of the energy power produced in the United States. West Virginia, where coal has been mined for generations, has become a complex story. Families built their lives around coal mining. It was their economy, their identity, and the paycheck they needed. But the miners continue to pay a heavy price. Black lung disease, lung cancer, and respiratory damage from breathing coal dust for decades became a quiet epidemic in Appalachian communities, and miners had to strike and fight politically just to get health benefits. Coal is continuing to decline. Wind and solar cause far less ecological harm and are renewable. But the current federal government has actively worked to slow their growth. The people and communities built around its coal mining have been forgotten and left with black lung, broken health, and no replacement income. So coal is not just a dirty fuel we are phasing out. It is a 300 million year old piece of the planet's history, a 3,600 year old chapter in the human story of how we powered civilization, and a reminder that the profits for the high cost of energy held by a powerful few are not always visible on the monthly bill. And that's a real thing. That's all I got for you today. Just this nugget along the way.